you're in charge, you're making all the decisions. We want everyone to be involved. So if anybody has any ideas, to communicate with everyone, it's better to get it from all sides coming in instead of just one person. I was a little disappointed in the 50th anniversary that we had in our city. It wasn't a big to-do. So the 175th is going to be really big. But we will be coming and contacting the council people, and especially you, Mr. Ness. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right, any other open business? Please come forward.
Good evening, City Council. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is John Curcio. I grew up in Taylor. My mother and father, we have our family home in Taylor. My mother, unfortunately, is dying of cancer here. On October the 8th, I received a call from our neighbor for me to get to my mom's house, that my mom's house is smoking. My mom's house was set afire in Taylor. Thank the good Lord, my mother was at Beaumont Hospital on that day. And the neighbor came over, he thought my mom was in her bed, and stood at the door, and he couldn't get through the smoke. He says, go with it to rescue her. She wasn't in the house. That's the good neighbors that we have in Taylor. Unfortunately, when the neighbor showed up across the street and the fire truck still had their hoses in my mom's front window and the fire trucks were there, and the neighbor showed up after I gave my statement to the fire gentleman at the scene, and I signed for them to do an investigation in regards to my mom's house. And my mom's neighbor who lives across the street says, do they know of the woman that was at the house this morning? That my wife seen a woman there 5 minutes to 7 and go into your mother's house, and a half hour later the house is on fire. When I arrived on scene on the corner of Irving and Fillmore, I was addressed by a police officer. I told him who I was. He took me and escorted me up to the scene. I gave that statement I went back to the fireman that I just gave my statement to and signed that paper, and I said, sir, the neighbor just said that a woman was in my mother's house. Didn't have any permission. There should have been no one at my mother's home. And burned down our family home. Made it so my mother can't die in her own home. The house is still standing. The pictures are all on the wall. Her furniture is still there. But because of the smoke and all the toxic, everything is destroyed. I can't even go in that house and breathe. And I relied on the police and the fire department to do what they're supposed to in the city of Taylor. It took from October the 8th, I waited to come down here to City Hall until the 19th because I was getting word that this is politics. Dirty politics is being played. And I didn't want to come down here. And I don't want to come down here and talk to you like this. But this is totally wrong. I came to the mayor, to the front desk here, asked to see the mayor on the 19th. I spoke with Kimber. She came down from the mayor's office and talked to me, and I explained to her what is going on. Why is this? Why are the police not involved? When I reported right to the fire department that there was a woman in my mom's house, and this neighbor witnessed this and gave a description of the car, knows the direction of the car, coming and going. And we waited till all the cameras in the neighborhood are all gone before we involved the police. It took me calling and talking to Kimber at the mayor's office for her to call the police chief, call the fire chief, and get the police involved. A little late. A little late. And then I looked and said, when I talked to this neighbor, who has a vehicle like this? Who around me has a vehicle? Well, this is crazy. We lived for 50-some years. Never had a problem like this. And I took a picture of a vehicle that my neighbor described the vehicle. And I asked the investigators from the insurance company, and I showed the neighbor this picture. The neighbor said, the insurance company said, yes, go ahead and show it to us. She says, that's the vehicle that was in my mom's driveway.
Mr. Curcio, bring out your entire story here. Honestly, I wasn't kind of looking at the time, because this is so important. But what I would like to do is, what are the next steps? And I'm not certain if there's anybody from the city, that has been involved in this, if it's an ongoing investigation. If so, it may not be the wisest thing for them to even speak publicly about where they are in the case.
Well, my question, Mr. Chairman, is why did it take Taylor Police so long to get involved? Why didn't the fire department notify Taylor that this is a suspicious fire right off the bat? Then we would have been running when the hoses were still in the building, and we know that a woman was in that house, and a half hour later my mother's house is on fire. They knew this. Somebody dropped the ball down here. And we need to find out who that is and try to correct this and try to find out what happened to my mother's house, because the neighbors around my mother's house and my mother deserve to be safe in their home, deserve to leave their home and be able to come home and somebody didn't burn their house down.
So just to be clear, it was October 8th and it was October 18th. So it's a 10-day period.
12 days.
12 days.
12 days. Tuesday, it was Tuesday, the 19th is when I came and talked to Kimber in the mayor's office in regards to it. And she went to the mayor and took it up with the mayor, and he went, and then I spoke with the new mayor, Mayor Woolley, also down here in regards to the situation, because I'm not getting nowhere from the police. Detectives don't even return your call. Where's the case at? What's happening?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mayor.
So I've reached out to the fire department, got some information. I've been talking to the police department. There's still a few, I actually spoke with Mr. Curcio today. There's a few questions that I need to get with Chief Blair to answer that we wanted to try to figure out today. So I believe there is an active investigation still going on, but I need to clarify that for Mr. Curcio. And then somebody that's in charge of that investigation will be reaching out to you.
And the other thing is, we need to keep my mom safe, because we don't know who did this yet. Okay? We don't know who did this.
Understood.
And that's,
Understood, Mr. Curcio.
thank you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming down and speaking to the
I
council.
appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Persino, that house on Dudley? Your house on Dudley?